Hello and welcome to the Tough Girl Podcast, a 3-time award-winning show that aims to motivate and inspire you while increasing the amount of female role models in the media, especially in relation to adventure and physical challenges. I'm your host, Sarah Williams. If you're passionate about adventure, challenge and learning from women who have overcome obstacles and achieved remarkable things, then this is the podcast for you. Every Tuesday at 7 a.m, new episodes go live featuring incredible women who share their stories, insights and tips to help you achieve your dreams and goals. You can support the Tough Girl mission by signing up as a patron. Visit Patreon, patreon.com/Tough Girl Podcast. Keep listening until the very end as I share more information about what's going on with me with Tough Girl Challenges, give shout outs and recommend other Tough Girl Podcast episodes. More information can be found at toughgirlchallenges.com.
I'm Theresa Frost. I'm proud to be 68 years old. I'm wife of Peter and we've been married for 41 years. I'm mum to Benjamin and Harriet and I'm grandmother to Alpha, Alexander and Mason. I'm now a retired teacher, a smallholder, and I am still a GB athlete. I compete in standard, middle and long distance aquabike, which is a swim and a bike of the triathlon. And I'm currently European distance champion in the 65 to 69 age group. And we are based in Cornwall.
Oh, I'm so excited to chat to you about all of those things. Although the one thing that I sort of do automatically now is whenever I say, I can't remember who I was talking to. I think I was talking to a lady like in her 70s and she was like, oh, I'm 70 years young. Or I think I introduced her. She's like 70 years old. She's like, no, I'm 70 years young. And so ever since then, that's what I say now. So I was like 68 years young. Amazing. But I'm going to take you back a few years. Did you grow up in Cornwall? You know, were you active and sporty and outdoorsy? Is this something that's always been a part of your life?
No, I was actually born in Gloucestershire on a farm and I stayed on the farm until I was 6. Unfortunately, my father died on a tractor accident. So my mother then left the farm and at that particular time, she was only 2 months pregnant with my little sister and she raised 4 children and I would say we're all sporty in our different ways.
So what sports did you like doing? I'm always don't want to be rude. I was like, what did you do back then?
Anything and everything, really. Most of them were team sports. So I played hockey, netball, tennis, rounders, gymnastics, anything I could do in school just to get out of everything else, really, especially sort of English. After school, I also did judo and fencing and sub-aqua. Yeah.
It almost sounds like quite like an idyllic childhood.
I think back then everything was much safer. I mean, I always remember on a Sunday afternoon, my mum would say, right, off you go. And we would the 4 of us, we'd have to take my little sister as well. And we'd just go for a walk, go down to the woods, play and just come back as and when we were hungry, really. And you could do that and she wouldn't know where we were. And it was perfectly safe. You know, you spoke to everybody you saw and climbed the trees and picked the apples that you shouldn't have done. It was good. I enjoyed my childhood. In the summer holidays, we all used to be, if you like, farmed out to my father's brothers and sisters. So we all went to different farms to give my mum a bit of a break. And we used to work on the farms for the summer holidays to earn ourselves a bit of pocket money for the rest of the year. But yeah, it was good. I think that's what sort of kept me in farming as it is. And well, although we've only just got a small holding, but.
Were you encouraged to do sports and fitness? I mean, do you remember seeing like women on TV? Like, do you remember any like sort of role models that you had?
I suppose my main role model would have been my sports teachers at school. As a young child, I always wanted to join the army. And that's what my mum thought I was doing. She didn't really think I was intelligent enough to be a teacher. But then my school teachers encouraged me to go on and do A-levels. And apply for PE college. So that's sort of the route I finally took, really.
So did you become a PE teacher?
Yeah, I became a PE teacher. Yeah, I went to a college which is no longer a college. It's called Lady Mabel College in Sheffield. My mum wanted me to stay close, but I said, no, I think if you're going away to college, you need to go away. So I'd never been up north, so I went to Sheffield.
And is that where you met your husband?
No, no. I was teaching in Dorset, and he was a student teacher.
I thought you were going to say he was a student, and I was like, oh.
He was a student teacher, and I always remember there was two female PE teachers, and we sat in the staff room when the students came in, and I said, "Oh, I fancy the one with the moustache," but nothing happened until after he'd left, and then two of my pupils sent me a Valentine's card from him. And so I wrote him a letter and I said, I'm not sure if this is from you or not. If it is, shall we meet up? If not, just ignore my letter. And it turned out it wasn't from him, but we still met up and kept going from there on.
And you've been married 41 years with multiple children and grandchildren.
Yeah, 2 children, 3 grandchildren. Yeah.
Were you sort of active throughout your pregnancies?
No, because I was teaching sport and involved in sport, I didn't actually do a lot of sport myself. I played hockey. I played lacrosse when I went to college, and I started to play with Exeter when I first moved back down here. But I didn't start running or back to sports until Harriet was born, and I put on so much weight, and I thought, right, okay, I've got to do something. So I started running, just jogging round the block, basically. And it just grew from there. And I really enjoyed it, found I was pretty good. And that was the start, really.
Did you go on to run half marathon, etc., or did you decide on the Ironman first? What was sort of the progression into the more sort of competitive sports?
I started off on sort of 10Ks, half marathons, and then I just by chance saw an advert for the London Marathon, which was the 1990 marathon, and put in for it. My husband said it was a bit early to start thinking about marathon, but unfortunately I was lucky then and got in, and that was my first of 5 London marathons. Haven't done any different marathons. I've only ever done London. But it's a different experience, I think, the London Marathon from any other marathon, in that you tend to spend your time dodging in and out of people and reading people's backs and finding and seeing why they're doing it for various reasons. So it's quite, it's a very individual marathon, I think.
So what made you decide to take on an Ironman?
I've always looked at the Ironman as the super person, the person with the tattoo on the back of their legs. And that was always my aim. But I always felt that I didn't have the potential to do it, because at that time, I was only running. I wasn't doing anything else. I wasn't swimming or cycling. And then much closer, as in 18 months ago, I decided that if I wanted to do one, I needed to get on and do it. Well, it made it really special because I also did it with Harriet, or rather we both did the same race, should I say. We didn't actually go together, but so, yeah.
So let me just clarify, because I know that you've had 2 hip replacements.
Yep.
Was that before or after the Ironman?
I had 2 hip replacements within 10 days of each other in August 2010. So 14 years ago. And I thought at the time, that was it. I was finished exercising, but I talked to my consultant and he said, well, tomorrow you could get knocked over by a bus, or you could end up doing 20 more marathons. So I thought, right, okay, we'll just crack on. I did a little bit of running and thought, right, well, I need to do perhaps something else. So that's when I started to do a bit of swimming and some cycling as well, because had I realized the damage that running can do to some people, not everybody, but some people, if you just run, it's much better to cross train. So you're using all your body rather than just your poor old legs. And that's when I started doing triathlons. Harriet did one through her work. She did the London triathlon. And I thought, okay, this looks good. I might have a go at this. That was my first one in 2013. I did the London triathlon. Didn't really enjoy the running, but I did it anyhow. And then from there, I just progressed on, really.
How old were you when you did your first triathlon then? In
11 years ago, so
57.
57.
57.
Yep.
Wow. So you did your first London triathlon, and was that doing that with your daughter, or was that just sort of you doing it sort of solo?
No, I was doing it solo. In fact, yeah, she was watching that year.
Did you enjoy it? Like, how was your body? How was your mind? Like, did you feel strong?
It was nice because it was closed roads. It wasn't so nice because you had a lot of cyclists on the roads, and the run was horrendous. I always remember Peter saying, oh, she's not smiling. She's miserable. She's down. She's got her head down. She's not enjoying this. But I did it. And that was the aim, just to get round and to do it. And from there on, things got better, actually.
What do you mean things got better? What happened?
I just got more confident, but I also started to train better, and my body felt better. So in 2015, I did a half Ironman. And the reason I did that was because at that time, Harriet was living in Australia, and I wanted an excuse to go to Australia to go and see her, actually. So I had to finish first in my age group in order to get the option of going to the World Championships, which happened to be in Australia. So I did train fairly hard for that, although the run was quite uncomfortable, but I did it. Partly, there was only 2 of us doing it anyhow, but you still have the pressure of thinking, well, that person might be absolutely fantastic. So you still have to push through as much as you can. Fortunately, I got there, so I actually got to go to Australia and see her, which was really nice.
So an amazing achievement, half Ironman. You're now representing Team GB, 59 years young, heading out to Australia. At this point, are you just doing your own training? Have you got a coach involved? Are you also retired, or are you still working? What was going on?
I was retired. We have a small holding, which we've sort of gradually over the last few years made smaller. We did have about 50 sheep. We had Shetland cattle, Shetland geese, and we've still got ducks and geese, and we've got Cornish Harvey speckled, which is a very rare breed bred in Cornwall. I still look after all of the animals and that. But for Mothering Sunday in 2021, Harriet gave me a card which said, I've got you a present. It's a voice call with a coach. So I got myself a coach then.
Oh, fantastic.
So I've only had a coach since 2021.
When did you decide that you wanted to commit and do a full Ironman?
Not really until January 2022. And we actually did it in the October 2022. I think the reason I was able to commit was because I knew my coach could get me my running up to standard. And without her, I definitely wouldn't have got the running done for the Ironman.
What does training look like for you? Like, how many sessions are you doing a week? Are you out training all the time? Do you recover quite well? Like, how are your hips doing? Talk us through that side of things.
I train probably 13 days out of 14, sometimes 1 day less. I don't always get a day off. It depends on what I'm doing. I swim 3 times a week. I cycle the rest of the week. So I do long rides. I don't always do long rides at the weekend because it depends on what's going on. Sometimes I'll do a long ride in the middle of the week, but I always try to do it early in the mornings. It's almost as if I like to get my training finished, done, and then I can carry on with the jobs to do on the small holding at home. I wouldn't say housework because I don't do housework very often. I mean, like this morning, I've had a swim session and I've had a strength and conditioning session as well.
Can I ask you about that? Are you doing like strength and conditioning? Are you doing yoga? You know, is your coach giving you a plan that you do at home, or are you a member of a gym? You know, what does that look like?
I belong to a running club, but I don't very often run. I have recently started doing a strength and conditioning class with a lady called Ruth, who is exceptionally good. My coach used to tell me to do half an hour, sort of twice a week, strength and conditioning, and I do my own exercises. But I find with sort of gym work, I'm not very good at making sure I'm doing the exercise correctly. For example, if I had to do, I don't know, burpees, I'd probably just do them as quick as I could. Whereas now with Ruth, she will correct every slight little thing that's out of line, because it makes such a difference to which muscles you're using and whether the next exercise relates to that exercise or not. I just come out of the classes with a bit of a buzz. She only has 3 of us at a time, and she's just building us really up really slowly, each individually. So our weights are coming up if we need to come up on certain exercises and go down on other exercises. My left knee is slightly weaker, so I do less things on that side. I've got a slightly dodgy shoulder at the moment, so today I didn't do any shoulder liftings. Yeah, she's exceptionally good. She looks at the details of things, which is what I need.
Do you know, I think it's what everybody needs.
I agree, because silly things like when I walked upstairs before I started going to Ruth, I used to use the banister to, if you like, pull me up, because my upper body is definitely stronger than my lower body. But now, it might sound silly, but I can walk upstairs now without using the banister at all. And it makes silly things like getting up off the settee. I don't have to sort of struggle. I can just literally stand up and go. And I think any exercise is better than no exercise. But if you can do a little bit of strength exercise, even if it's just, picking up a couple of cans when you're doing something, it all adds up and it all makes a big difference, especially when you get older. And I suppose I am proud that I can do what I can do at my age. I mean, for some people, it's quite a young age, but for others, it's old.
Tell me a little bit more about your swimming and where you train for swimming and what that looks like.
I've been very lucky to be sponsored, if you like, from an organisation called GLL, who run the Better Leisure Centres. And we've got several of them in Cornwall. So it allows me to swim and use their gym free, which actually contributes quite a lot financially, because triathlons are quite expensive sport to do. And if you're having to pay for swimming every single week 3 times, it soon adds up. So their help and support has been brilliant. I also had some help and support from Snugs, which is our local wetsuit company, because they actually make wetsuits to fit you. So they're the ones with a polar bear on the front of them. And they've been very kind to me as well. So
I have to ask you, do you like running? I'm sort of getting the impression that it's not really your cup of tea.
I suppose I like the thought of running.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, true. I do like running. But I'm always conscious that I'm going to feel pain, because I went through a stage where I was running and every time I finished, my hips were hurting and I'm thinking, well, I must be doing damage. I think I just want to be able to run when I want to, when I feel okay, and for however long I want to go. I don't want to have the restrictions like I have with my swimming and cycling, where I know for my next competition, I've got to be able to swim 3K or 1900 meters or cycle 54 miles or whatever. I just want to be able to do it for leisure, if you like.
You are the European Aquabike Champion. 2023, which is amazing. But just share a little bit more about Aquabike. Is that a big thing, like down in Cornwall? Are there lots of other people doing it? How did you end up entering these competitions? Because, this is something I've only heard about over the past couple of years. Like, I didn't even realize it was a thing.
Aquabike is fairly new to the sort of GB and European and world scene, in that for most races up until the last perhaps 2 years, we'd sort of tagged on with the triathlons, and then when we finish our bike, we just get off our bike and they say, oh, well done, thank you, off you go. Whereas now we're actually getting specific races. Like, I did a race at the weekend and all the Aquabike people started together, and we actually, when we crossed the cycle line at the finish, we then were able to put our bikes away and then we could walk to the finish, and we got our own medals and everything. So it is a little bit of the underdog, if you like, but I think it will definitely hold its own soon, simply because there are more people who want to exercise, but they can't necessarily run. But they can sit on a bike, they can pedal hard, and they can swim, because obviously with swimming, you haven't got the pressure on your whole of your body. So I think it will get up to speed soon. In fact, the European Championships that I'm doing in Portugal, we have actually got our own finish there. So that will be quite nice to sort of feel recognised, if you like, for our own category.
Are you competitive? Like, when you get out there, do your competitive juices get flowing?
I always used to say I'm not competitive, and I never was a competitive teacher. I used to instill in people that it was better to participate and join in. I'm very, very nervous before the start of a race, but as soon as a race starts, if I see somebody in front of me, then I do try and catch them up.
How do you deal with the mental side of racing?
I don't like not finishing a job. You just got to get your head down and you just got to do it. When we did the Ironman, I had a name which was going to come up in my head, which is my middle name, Harriet's middle name, my mum's name, and my godmother's name. And I think I used it about 4 times. And you just need something that just gives you that bit of, I don't know, pulling you back to reality, if you like, taking you out of the situation and saying, look, you can do this. You just got to get on with it and get going.
So what do you mean using the name as like a mantra almost, or like?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Would you like to share the name with us?
The name's Eileen. I just know that the other 3 Eileens that I know are all very strong women and don't give up, and would be telling me that I could do it and just suck it up and get going.
Oh, so it's almost like it's the Eileens that are like the voices in your head saying, come on, you've got this, or giving you like the words of encouragement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I think you've got to have something just to sort of focus on, if you like, when the going does get tough. And it will do, whatever race you're doing at some point in time. If it doesn't get tough, then you're not working hard enough.
I really like that, because I've heard of other techniques as well where people they dedicate miles to specific individuals. So it's almost taking your brain out of it. But actually, I've never actually heard of someone sort of, like the names connecting. Well, what would my daughter say to me in this situation? What would my husband say? What would my godmother, my grandmother, etc.? What words of encouragement would they say? And I think that's a really fun way of actually getting some extra motivation.
Yeah, yeah.
So with like the European Aquabike Championships, what type of distances are you covering? And are you needing to fuel during the race, or are they short enough that you can just get away without eating?
The middle distance is roughly, the swim is usually about 1900 meters, and the cycle is probably around sort of between 50 and 60 miles usually. The one coming up in Belgium is going to be 54 miles. You do need to fuel. And I use I don't use a gel, but I do. Well, I occasionally use a gel, but I don't drink coffee, so I don't have gels with coffee in it. I tend to use a drink which is from powder, and it's from Morden's, which is used by quite a lot of sort of the professionals, I'm told. But I also mainly use food. I do use chia bars. I've been known to use jelly babies, sandwiches. Yeah.
With your, would you call it a homestead? Little farm?
Yeah. Small holding. Yep.
Small holding was the word you used. Are you growing food as well?
Well, we're doing vegetables just for ourselves at the moment. But we always used to, when we had sheep and cattle, they would have a very, very good life. They would be born, most of them, with us. They would live their life, and then they would go straight to the slaughterhouse, and then we would eat them. So we would know exactly what had gone into them, and it was literally all organic. We don't put anything on our land or anything.
I mean, to be honest, I think that's the best way. I mean, you know exactly what is going into your meat if you're having your vegetables as well. Are you following like any specific diet at all?
No, I need to eat more protein. I'm not very good at protein. I'm trying to eat a lot more vegetables nowadays, but food is definitely my weak spot.
Is that just sort of because, are you not a massive fan of like sort of cooking?
I'm a baker rather than a cooker. Yeah.
Oh, you sound like my mum. My mum absolutely loves, I mean, she cooks as well. But baking is what she prefers to do. Although occasionally we've had to like cut her off, which is like, please stop baking cakes. Like, during COVID, it was getting ridiculous. Our cakes went from being like a normal cake, just one layer of cream, to like a double, to then like triple. And then at one point when you're having like 4 layers, we were like, no, let's rein this in a little bit more. What do you end up eating before a race?
Not a lot, actually. Because I do most of my training first thing in the morning, I usually just get up. I'll have a hot water, which is what I drink mainly. And then I'll have a smoothie afterwards, which is just got all sorts put in it. Chias, seeds, nuts, spinach. Sometimes I put oats in it as well, and some fruit juice. And I tend to put in Greek yogurt as well.
Are you also putting protein powder in?
At the moment I am, simply because my daughter gave me a tub that she wasn't using because she'd finished doing her training. So I'm finishing that up at the moment. What I will do after that, I'm not sure, because I find it quite difficult to be able to, if you like, monitor how good it is. Like when you're on a cycle, you can tell you've done the miles, you've done the time, so you can actually monitor what it is. Whereas with food, it's a bit more difficult, I find.
Oh, that's really interesting. Do you get hangry? Like, so that's a mix between like hungry and angry. Like if you haven't eaten, you start getting like more sort of short-tempered, but like a little bit more less forgiving, like people's breathing like annoys you.
No.
Okay. Not just be me.
So you know when you're getting hungry then?
Oh yeah, I know straight away. I can feel it, and I can also feel like when I've eaten, I can feel my energy returning massively. But I'm trying to do more intuitive eating, because sometimes, like I started like yesterday, I was having like, because of calls and stuff, I was having like a late salad or a late sort of lunch at like 3:30. And I'd already had like eggs and avocado on toast with some mushrooms earlier in the day. And I got halfway through this amazing salad, and it wasn't like a massive portion. And I was just like, oh, yeah, like, I'm done now. Do you have anything special that you eat to help you recover?
No. I think I come from the old school time when I was growing up, our primary school wasn't very far away from home. So we used to come home for lunch. So I'd been used to having a very traditional lunch, and you cleared your plate. You didn't leave anything on your plate. And I do notice with Harriet in particular, if she's full up, she'll leave it. Whereas with me, if I put it on my plate, then basically I'm saying that's what I've got to eat.
Are you doing anything for recovery? Do you get regular massages? Are you using a foam roller? Do you stretch?
Having just been to my strength and conditioning class, Ruth will tell you that my favourite bit is the stretching bit at the end. She has to, well, not literally force me, but I would sooner continue to do more exercises than I would bother with stretching. But I do, after I've done something, I will always probably go and do something else. So, for example, after my class this afternoon, I would have taken my dog for a walk. So I sort of see that as my recovery.
Active recovery aspect. Yeah, active recovery, 100%. Yeah.
I'm not at all good at sitting down and doing nothing. I will if I'm in a bath.
Yeah.
I can sit in a bath all day long, a nice hot bath, but no, I need to be doing things so I keep an active body going, I think.
How do you feel about turning 70? What are your thoughts?
I'm looking forward to it because it means that I'll start in a new age group. So at the moment I'm in the 65 to 69, so I'm right at the top end. I'm at the old end, so the youngsters 65-year-olds are coming in. Whereas next year I will be 70. So I will be the new girl on the block, so to speak. So I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
Your next competition is in Portugal, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, at the end of next month.
And how's all the training gone for it?
Yeah, not too bad. I need to sort of step up my cycling miles now, and I didn't do a very good swim session this morning, so I've hurt my shoulder, so I'm going to have to be a bit careful with that one as well. So, but we'll get there.
And Theresa, you are on social media. Where are you most active, and where can people find more information out about you?
I'm on Instagram, and it's just Theresa.Frost.
Fantastic. And Theresa, I would love for you to have the final words of advice, final words of wisdom for other women who are, they're in their 60s, going to be turning 70. They want to try new things, but maybe they're feeling a little bit concerned. What advice would you like to share? But please don't say just do it.
Just start with one thing. It doesn't matter whether it's a big thing or a small thing. I think the most important thing is that you're actually moving somehow, somewhere, and just get up and move, really. Because one thing, once you start moving, one thing will lead to another, and you'll gradually do something else, and you'll perhaps see somebody else who's also doing the same movement that you're doing, or is doing something different. You fancy trying something different as well. Take opportunities. Lots of sports centres these days will have over 60s days. And I know it's hard to go along to them. Most people will be friendly and will talk to you. And it's just a case of taking that one step and just saying, yeah, why not? Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I'll just have a go.
Absolutely. Why not? Go and have a go. Theresa, thank you so much for speaking to me today on the Tough Girl podcast. Best of luck with your next competition, and keep having a go. Keep being active, keep running, keep cycling, keep swimming, keep entering these competitions. And I'm excited for when you turn 70 and you become the youngster in the group. I'm sure you'll absolutely destroy the competition.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
Hey Tribe, I really hope you enjoyed that episode with Theresa. What an absolute inspiration. And I hope her words have inspired you to think about your next challenge, whether that is running a marathon or doing an Ironman. Do something that you are passionate about and something that excites you. Everything that we have talked about today will be available in the show notes at toughgirlchallenges.com. Please do go and visit the website. You can find more information about me, my different adventures and challenges, and also more information about the incredible women that I've been interviewing throughout the years. There's over 700 episodes for you to check out, with new episodes going live every Tuesday, with bonus episodes going live every Thursday. Next week, I am delighted that we're going to be catching up with Jo Moseley. So we first spoke to Jo Moseley on May 19th, 2020. She's a joy encourager, a midlife adventurer and beach cleaner who stand-up paddleboarded 162 miles coast to coast across the UK. So it's been quite a few years since we last spoke to Jo, and so it's just been wonderful to catch up with her and to hear more about her latest book that she has just released called Stand Up Paddleboarding in the Lake District: Beautiful Places years to paddleboard in Cumbria. Jo also shares more about being 59 years young and turning 60 next year and how she is feeling about it. So another incredible episode. Highly recommend that you do hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't done so already, I would love for you to tell one friend about the Tough Girl podcast. It is the best way to spread the word, spread the message, and to share these incredible women's stories of adventure and physical challenges. If you would like to support the work that I do, then please do go and visit Patreon, www.patreon.com/Tough Girl Podcast. And you can support the mission to increase the amount of female role models in the media, especially in relation to adventures and physical challenges. All that's left to say is, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, give it your all, give it 110%, get after it, go for it, believe in yourself, because I believe in you. Take care, lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.